What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Texas Honda channel. If you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. So recently we put the Speed Factory Street Savage race cam in with Brian Crowder springs and retainers, added an upgraded supercharger pulley, which is smaller, put traction bars on, and we're getting this thing ready so we can go back to the dyno and then back to the track to see what it makes. When it was on 6 pounds of boost, without the traction bars and without the race cam, I ran a 13.82 at my fastest time, and that was also with a short gear transmission. Now we have the long gear and all those other things I just mentioned. So what we're basically trying to do is get the quarter mile time to be a little bit quicker. Well, recently Michael retuned me since we put the race cam on, which he did a really good job. Super thankful for Michael. If anyone else needs a tune from him, his information is in the description. He does really solid work. But he told me to go out and do a data log run to see if all the air fuel ratios and everything was good. So I did, and here's what happened. As I'm sure you've just seen, the intake temperatures got really hot. They're not supposed to get that hot ever, but that is to be expected with a Jackson Racing supercharger, but I wanted to find a way to knock those temps down. What I ended up doing was taking off the coolant hose right by the supercharger and header wrapping that with some header wrap that I got from my friend Jeremy. Huge shout out to Jeremy. Thanks so much for buying me that orange header wrap. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but it came in handy. So we ended up header wrapping that coolant hose because it was basically touching right up against the supercharger and soaking the 190-degree coolant hose up against the supercharger, making the supercharger extra hot, which it's already bad enough that they don't have an intercooler or an aftercooler on these, so it got really hot. I decided to take the temperature sensor out and see what the heat did to the temperature sensor, and as to be expected, it melted it pretty good. So I ended up getting another temperature sensor out of a B-Series intake manifold I had laying around, cleaned it up and threw it in. And the next thing I did to help combat these high intake temperatures was I ran the long intake pipe back down into the bumper, how we had it previously set up, because I just had it in the engine bay because it rained real hard one day and I didn't want to suck up any water, so I just put it back in the engine bay and never reverted it. So now it's reverted back to the way we had it at the drag strip, so we're sucking outside air. We've got the new intake temperature sensor, and now it's not heat soaking with the coolant hose right up against the supercharger. So I'm going to take it back out, I'm going to do another pull and see how high the temps get. Now, keep in mind I don't have an aftercooler or an intercooler, so these temps are higher than normal. They shouldn't be anywhere near these range, say if you were a turboed or a naturally aspirated car. Even turboed cars don't even get that hot because they have a nice good intercooler that'll cool the air down. So this is pretty dangerous temps, so we're trying to knock them down. I might have to get an aftercooler mod done, but that's expensive and I don't have the money for that right now. So a water meth injection kit might be an option, or just spray some nitrous. But we're gonna go out and get on it real quick and see how it does. So as you could see on that run, the intake temp's not near as high, so doing the long intake all the way to the bumper and the header wrap on the coolant hose definitely helped big time. But I think I'm getting some belt slip because that wasn't near as high a boost as what we ran earlier. Earlier I was at 12 pounds, well, I spiked to a 12 right at the end of the RPM range, and this time it wasn't near as high, but it still pulled really good. The air fuel ratios are right where they need to be, and the intake temps definitely are lower than what they used to be. So we made a step in the right direction, but I want to give a huge shout out to Michael for his awesome tunes. Like I said, his information's in the description. Only message him if you're serious about a tune because he is a very busy person, but his work is worth every penny. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. We still have some things to do. We got to get more intake temps to drop. We'll probably have to do the aftercooler and all that stuff, but that's just really expensive and I don't have the money for it, or I would already have sent this thing off. But sent the engine off to the machine shop today to get the cylinders measured and honed and make sure the crankshaft is good, and then they'll polish it, and then we can put those forged rods in and get the new pistons, and then drop that engine in here. Well, just the block, because we're going to be using this Y8 head with the Speed Factory race cam and the Brian Crowder springs and retainers. So this head will be essentially just dropped on that block with ARP head studs, the whole 9 yards. This is going to be a fully built engine. But yeah, definitely stay tuned, because we're going to be doing the Max Peating Rods giveaway, which you could win some forged D16 rods that we have in this box. There's a video on it. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out to see how you could win these. But I think that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. As I like to say, God bless, stay safe, stay awesome.